All right, we're back, part two, Deacon Wayne. All right, we're going into kind of like you just left your family, and you're still with your family, you're still living, but you're going out into the workforce.
Yeah. So I stepped out in the workforce. First job out of high school was at a grocery store. I worked there for about 7 years, and I think the thing that formed me the most there, workers were pretty blue collarish from their mindset, but I think the thing that formed me the most at that point in time was customers who would come in, and I was such a introvert that I would not talk to people. And these customers would come in week after week, and they want to talk to you. They
The
want to
women?
know, the old Polish women. They're like, boy, we want to know what's going on with Wayne, and they would not let up until I finally would start open. They're the ones that kind of ripped it open. They said, okay, now it's time to be social. Now it's time to, and I learned it there basically, and
How to communicate?
how to open up and just be a social being, where it was before it was all interior and an introvert, so really pulled me out of my shell a lot. So.
And you were there for a while.
7 years, yeah. Went from bag boy all the way up through stock clerk, and so it was a very good time. Other than it was right when the economy got really bad at the end of the 70s, and then got hours cut, and that leads into the next portion of my life was when I said, okay, I gotta go to school.
Yeah, great. So just like a real quick about your bosses and their bosses and the owner of the store, like how they treat people and how was their mentality?
Well, it is a union shop, so
The grocery store.
yeah, it was union.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was rough because my personal experience of union, and that was the first one, was that everybody's after their own brother, if you will. It's like, I want better hours than you, and I got more seniority than you. So the bosses and the upper tier, they had to play along with it, and they would play kind of brutally too, because they would try to pull things on the union, and so it was almost like a dog eat dog situation, not only from management but from hourly people to hourly people. My first experience at that was really tough. And
was it hard to keep a good demeanor while that energy was going on around there as you worked to be in a?
Yeah, it was, but again, my upbringing on the farm was you put your all into your work. So when that stuff wasn't around, which wasn't constant, it was just once in a while people would be bickering. Most of the time was, how good a job can I do? How can I be more sociable to the customers so they enjoy their experience?
So when those ladies opened you up, and when you went out, like that 7, 8 years, you went out into public or whatever you did, it made you more social.
Yeah, and it was key in my life too, because I was 17 at the time, so it was like even going out, dating, hanging out with buddies, all of this was just all happened at the same time. So it was like this big blossoming of my social life, right?
It's beautiful. And that led into after that.
Yeah, and then so at the end of the career of 7 years, the store started to close down, and so I said, and things were really bad. I thought I was going to work at General Motors at a manufacturing plant in my hometown, because that's what everybody did. You got out of high school, you went to work for General Motors.
Okay, in Bay City, near Bay City?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was going big downturn because of the economy then too, so they weren't hiring people, so I went back to school.
You went to college. Where did you go to college?
Went to Ferris State College, not Ferris State, now it's Ferris State University, but back then it was just college. And
how old are you? Just kidding.
So that was 1980, so a 2-year degree in technical illustration. That kicked in another whole formation in my mind of things that I didn't know, gifts that I didn't know was buried inside of me. Technical illustrations are kind of a cross between drafting and artwork. And when I discovered that I could draw things inside of me, that had that ability to see 3D, and I never knew I had it until I stepped into that world.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I almost quit on the first day because the instructor's going on with a big hour-long lecture with us, and the whole time he's drawing this 3D picture of this military jeep jumping over a sand dune on a chalkboard with chalk, and it was like beautiful when he was done. And I walked up to him, I said, I think I'm in the wrong spot. And he goes, no, stick with it. We're going to teach you how to do this. So, and lo and behold, I had this wonderful experience. I find it's something that turned out to be a very key part of my life. Being able to see things and
So
perceive
how's that work in your mind? 'Cause I don't, you know, like most people don't have that.
I think it's a gift, you know. I think it fell into my my artistic talents because I always loved music up through then. My dad was a musician. I'm a musician, so I think it was just another step out of being able to take art form and turn it into something beautiful. You know, learned watercolor, learned airbrush, all of this stuff while I was at Ferris. So it was a great experience of me finding something that God buried deep inside me. I didn't know was there. You know,
The creator was what's the creator do? You know,
Yeah.
creates. That's
Yeah.
the creativity.
yeah.
That's great. You know, wonderful.
And I always had an imagination, but I never applied it to the paper. So it was good. Good experience there. Of course, college days are crazy and wild, and things, you know, you wish you shouldn't have done, and all these kind of things. The road you travel, I think it helps form you, as St. Paul says. You know, why do I do the things that I don't want to do? You know, and I think now looking back on it, I don't. As hard as it was, I don't think I'd change anything because I think it helped form me to be grounded in what not to do, if I can make sense of it that way, you know, so I could move into my life and go, okay, there's better ways of
course.
making it through the day. So then I graduated from Ferris, moved down to the Detroit area in the automotive industry. Started with about 5 years of using my technical illustration into product design for basically second and third tier automotive engineering companies. Took a break, got married, had our first child. Then we moved to Bay City, back to Bay City. I thought that was going to be in, but the good thing about moving back to Bay City was I jumped from product design to manufacturing engineering.
Okay.
And that was a big play in my life.
As far as like the blue collar, white, like is
Yeah,
it the
so-
echelon of whatever that is.
Yeah, the mindset of product engineering with more white collar, more academia, more prestigious, a lot less hands off type thing. That was all on paper. Where once they moved in the manufacturing world, it was hard, it was dirty. You got right down into it, and you made it work. You know, you went from this thing that was just on paper to building a car, you know, and actually making something. So it was this idea, again, tying back to your thought just a second about creating, is this, now you've seen it formed and you've seen it, you could touch it, what you built, you know? It wasn't just a piece of paper with lines on it.
Yeah, very good.
So it was a huge part in my life and understanding, and I applied even things back from my farm life where I seen mechanics, I seen how a combine works, I seen how a tractor works, and so even that part of it, along with the 3D mindset and applying it to building tools, robotics, sheet metal welding, that was my bailiwick. So that all played into it, you know. And now I'm bumping up against a mindset, a culture of blue collar, where I talked about it in our last podcast, how these people were pretty rough and tumble, but what a huge field! The field was ripe. You know, you step into that, it's deep and it's over your head. But
so what do you notice about the blue collar and then the white collar too? About the blue collar mindset. Just we ain't judging nobody, but we just observe and their mindset, like their thoughts on say racism. Was there racism in there? Was there that kind of.
It's crazy when you think about it. When I think about it, in the white collar world, I think it was more racist than it was in the blue collar world.
Okay.
Because there was different ethnicities in the blue collar workforce. You would think the education of a white collar person would be the opposite. Okay, I've thought this through. It's not good to be racist or look down on people, but it was the opposite. It's like, and then the people that were down in the blue collar area, they kind of grasped that. They knew that you put your pants on just like everybody else, and they let you know. That was another great, huge, humbling experience when elderly people walk up to you and you think, I'm the engineer. I'm going to No, they pull you right down to the earth, man. We get getting buried back down into the dirt there. You
It was
know?
beautiful. Yeah, because real quick, I was in the Marines, and like, you know, I came from a white town, and you know, all of a sudden, you got to interact with with every different race, every different religion, and if you don't, they're just foreign, and they're not foreign.